Hey folks, another IT reality tidbit, video tidbit, whatever we want to call it.
Yeah.
So today we're taking a look at just a little bit more. This is day 2 of VMware Explore. Richard and myself, we've been here. My feet are absolutely killing me.
24,000 steps for me yesterday.
Definitely beat me. I had 18K.
Oh, not bad, not bad.
I don't know why, but it seemed like it just stopped counting for some reason.
Well, you could be up to 20s.
Could be.
But man, it's if you're not prepared for 20,000 steps, it's a lot of steps.
Not groups. Step 1 on any conference is to wear comfortable shoes.
Broken-in shoes, not new shoes.
Yes,
Yep.
definitely. So I'm currently wearing like inserts and all sorts of things in order to try to help.
Yep.
And I don't know if they're helping, man. I don't know.
No,
if they're
tennis shoes that are brand new. They're the dad mowing the lawn shoes, and man, they're holding up.
helping. Dad mowing the lawn shoes.
Yep.
I love it.
If they're good enough for mowing the lawn, they're good enough for walking conferences.
So we talked yesterday about the keynote, and I think this time we're going to talk a little bit more about just the experience. About VMware Explorer, right? We've both been at VMworlds.
Number of times, yeah.
Yeah, this is a little different. It's a little different. So we might get into a little bit about why and things like that. So, what's your take so far about the?
For people who don't know, being alumni of VMworld, it was always on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then a little bit on Thursday. And there was 3 keynotes. There was a welcome, explore, crawl for all of the Expo, which used to be called the Solutions Exchange, and that then turned into a hall crawl at the end of Sunday, where everything kind of opened up and you got a taste of what was to come for the rest of the week. What they have done this year is they have somehow shortened the entire event, yet made it longer. So Monday was the first official day, but nothing really opened until the afternoon without a hall crawl. And there was no general session on Monday either. So what they did was they did the keynote on Tuesday, and then the hall crawl for the already open Expo was Tuesday evening. So it's a lot of shifting of the schedules. A lot of people I've heard not really liking the fact that there's only one keynote, because the keynotes that were there were always the general one, operational, and then innovation. And the innovation one was always very, very popular with everybody here because we're all a bunch of geeks learning cool stuff. Like they what did they do? They autopsied a cricket or a cockroach last time live and then restarted its joints, which was insane. It's something that nobody here would be actually doing unless you're a doctor or a veterinarian, learning how to do that with a lot of technology. So that seems to be dropped a little bit more for some management and executive oversight. Not real popular. The keynotes were a really big thing, and the Solutions Exchange itself, which is now called just the Expo, is smaller from all sides. The big vendors are here, the little vendors are here. There's just not as many of them.
Yeah, I think the way that I would rephrase this is it's like an AWS summit. I don't know if you've ever been to one of those.
I have not.
They're just relatively smaller. They're not as big as like the reInvent with all of the parties and all the vendors and everything. But they're relatively small. They're more localized into like a single building or maybe one or 2 buildings, which is similar to this. And then they're more focused into what the builders like. What are you trying to do with AWS? There are some vendors, but there are definitely not as many at a summit as there are here. So that's a big differentiator. But in terms of like the keynote and things like that, there's only one, and then there's sessions for the rest of the day. There may be some sessions on another day, but it's relatively short. It's not that long. This feels very much akin to that instead of the regular VMworld feel, summer camp for adult geeks.
Yep. Well, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
That we're used to.
Yeah,
right?
we're definitely used to. There's been a decrease in the summer camp for kids activity. That's a great way to put it. That's fantastic. I couldn't have put that better myself, which is why you did it.
Yeah. I say smart things sometimes.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I've kind of felt, and maybe we can talk a little bit about this, is there seems to be like a lack of energy just walking around. Normally there's a buzz that tends to be around, and I mean, is it me feeling feeling tired, or what do you think?
No, well, there's two sides of the coin on this. There are people who are energetic and happy to be here. There's different groups that are seeing each other for the first time. It's been like a family reunion for a lot of the very active members in the community, between VMUG, between the different Vanguard programs or champion programs across the different vendors, the different people who are in the blog space and the video content making space. We all know each other through the years, and because of the pandemic, we actually hadn't been able to connect all as a group all at once.
Yep.
So that side of the coin is very energetic, very happy to see each other. We're all, seeing each other at the parties and the events and the keynotes and the sessions. We're running each other in the hallways and things like that. It's been great. But no, you're absolutely right. The buzz is much lower. And I think the elephant in the room is people just don't know what to expect with Broadcom.
Yeah.
And nobody knows how to ask the executives that, because everybody's under NDAs and you're under the what's the thing that Elon Musk is?
I think Elon
The
Musk
SEC.
is?
The
Oh,
SEC.
yeah.
I'm trying to. Who
The
is?
FCC?
Yes. Yeah. The people who are the stock market controllers, I can't think of the name, but those rules that are in place to prevent companies from taking information outside of the boardroom into the public eye, those questions are being asked by the community at large here at VMware Explorer, and it just has put a damper on things. And with the recent issues with vSphere 7 not being as stable, there wasn't a big jump for feature upgrades in 7. People just didn't know what to expect. So it's definitely a tampered down kind of vibe here on the street. There's that energy that's lacking.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the area that I feel like a lot of people are missing is just like this new branding, this change, and from my perspective, a lot of the people that I grew up wanting to be when I grow up now have moved past the vendor scrum that is normally around VMware Explorer. Like they're no longer working for VMware. A lot of people that I know, a lot of people that a lot of people that are with the vendors that I've worked with are now not with the vendors. There's been this big exodus from VMware in the past couple of months because of the acquisition, and now we're not seeing those people anymore.
Right.
They're not here. What do you think in terms of this whole and not to put you on an area, but like how do you feel about the whole jumping ship mentality?
Everybody has career projection and upwards mobility. We're all rooting for each other to do the biggest and best next thing that's not only good for your career, but good for your family situation and good for your personal lives and good for your work-life balance. All power to it. But there definitely is a lack of the regulars that have been around across the different vendors too, because even though some of our colleagues and friends and coworkers have gone to other vendors to be in different roles, those vendors may not necessarily fit with the current vision of the conference at the moment. So companies that are doing maybe more competitive things against the multi-cloud, or are taking pieces of VMware's portfolio and kind of trying to compete directly with that, they're not here, and some of our friends have went to work there.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point to make. Not to stay, let's kind of hop off of this topic because I don't want everyone to be impressed. What about the sessions? Have you
I've been to a few sessions. As you are more and more experienced in conferences, it's more about the networking and more about the talking to the vendors and learning about everybody else's experiences. So I've been to a few sessions. The one that's been the coolest actually has been the sessions that have focused on the multi-cloud across companies. So for example, the one that I went to this morning was a Microsoft Azure and NetApp session that allows you to fire up Azure, which is VMware on Azure natively, not through vCloud Director, and have your own improvements to that solution. In addition to that, NetApp has partnered with not only Azure, but also AWS and Oracle and Google, and you can now natively do NFS data stores to your VMware infrastructure across those clouds. So fantastic. And so it was kind of a dual session. It was a little bit of Microsoft Azure and what their new improvements are, but it was also, hey, NetApp has got this new thing now that works across clouds. So it's fantastic. Another session that I was at yesterday was more of the clarity and removal of buzzwords from actually some upper management Office of the CTO members. I was in a session with Frank Denneman and Duncan Epping and William Lamb and John Nicholson, and they were kind of translating the keynote that we had just seen into a more consumable technology and architecture oriented, here's what's actually going on thing. And it was quite nice to see some other sales folks were in the session with us, including one of the directors of product, Ahmad Yunus was there too. So it was a very in-depth technical session from the people on the ground helping manage VMware's vision, and it's developers. It's also local infrastructure, and they are not forgetting about the small companies that consume VMware all these years that may not have their own software development stacks, or they may not have their own developers in-house. It's still, VMware runs in almost every data center and data closet in the world. It's not a small amount of people that are not developers. So it was definitely a good level set for what all the buzzwords were in the keynote.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. My sessions have been kind of in the same vein. It's been a deeper dive into things that were announced, but not necessarily double clicked on. I got to finally see what Aria looked like.
You used double click. You used that buzzword.
I'm sorry. Zoom in.
Stop it.
Okay, I give up.
Dive deeper into was perfect, and then you went one too far.
Unveil the information. Unveil it, I guess. Whatever. Take away the abstraction. So you can actually see how it works. And so I got to sit in with Amanda Blevins, Karen Kickbutt, who I'm not going to say his name because I will probably butcher it, but he's awesome. And then Kelsey Hightower, got to sit in on their sessions.
Yep.
And that session was probably the most helpful to me. Kelsey Hightower said to a room full of VI admins, you are all developers, which I thought was the ballsiest move in all of VMworld history, and kudos to him. But the thing that I've always kind of really enjoyed is, sorry for saying double click, but this idea of announcement and then, understanding more of the technical ramifications in the solution keynotes, I guess, what they're referring to this time around. That's been, I think that's kind of worked a little bit. It's, I agree with you. I don't like the removal of that operational keynote that helps me kind of conceptualize what these announcements actually mean to me. These are relatively shorter, and they don't really go into as much depth as the keynotes on day 2 normally did. The other thing that I was going to bring up was just the highlight, in my opinion, of VMware Explore, and we both agree with this, which is the networking, the people.
Yep.
How's it been? How's it been seeing people again?
It's been fantastic. Interesting where I can't turn the camera off anymore, which is getting some adjustment. It's just like, nope, I'm done now, but nope, we got to learn how to talk to people and do the small talk routine again, which has been a nice, fun learning curve to get back into the swing of things. But it's been great. I've been stopped in the hall this year more than any other time that I've been at a conference ever. And people are recognizing me, I'm recognizing other people. It's not just because we knew each other through this one conference every year we see each other. We fed and cared for these relationships through the pandemic, through Zooms, through VMUG meetings, through vendor talks. If your company needs this product, hey, I know this person, and that person doesn't necessarily be the SME for that, but I know this company that can help you. All of those things that have been going on over the last 2.5 years have kind of come to fruition, where we can all get together as a community and be like, hey, thank you so much for helping me out, and hey, thank you so much for doing this for me. It's been great.
Yeah. For me as well, I got to finally meet a bunch of people that I met. Myself, I didn't really get really deep into the community until about 2019. VMworld 2019 is when I started actually meeting people in the community, getting to know who they were. And so when 2020 hit and COVID hit, I know people by Twitter profiles.
Yep.
So if you don't have a Twitter profile with your face on it, it is very difficult for me to find you.
Yep.
But I want to find you, and I want to talk to you. And so a great example of this is Great Natatron. On Twitter, I talk to him all the time. He tweets me, I tweet him back. And I didn't know what he looked like.
Yep.
But he tweeted at me, he was like, hey, the Nates must combine. And I was like, absolutely, where are you? And then he was like, I'm over here. And I finally found him, met him, and I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea what you looked like, but now I do because I saw you face to face. It was an absolutely breathtaking moment. But let's talk about the biggest surprise of VMware Explore, and it came a little bit before VMware Explore, maybe a week before. But Sanjay Poonan,
Yeah.
we both just got to see him in the Cube
Yep.
as the new CEO and president of Cohesity. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts, it was a fantastic move by Cohesity's part. I'm so happy for Sanjay to start with. He has always been a great advocate for the community at large, not only just VMUG, but in general, making sure IT folks are connected to the right people, to the right executives, to the right sales managers. Whenever you needed anything when he was at VMware, he would always respond to you by email. It's been great. I always enjoyed his keynotes. I always enjoyed his vision of the company. And, people move on. So he moved on from VMware with the whole transition, which is fine. And he ended up at Cohesity, which I don't think anybody saw as that was the place that he was going to end up. A lot of people were thinking he would be on boards of directors across the world. A lot of people thought he might move into healthcare due to the great reach that VMware had into the healthcare industry. Some people thought he would be more back into the business-oriented world for SAP. There was just, nobody thought backup vendors where Sanjay is going, and I ran into him right before the CUBE session. I said, congratulations. He's like, oh, you're a VMUG leader. How do you think? What are you doing? What's going on? And we had a quick 5-minute chat, and it was fantastic. He's such a great guy, and I'm so happy of where he landed, not only for him and his career, but also for the experience that he brings Cohesity and where they can go next.
Yeah, absolutely. Cannot agree more with that. It's worth mentioning as well, we both sat there watching him speak on the Cube. He is such a great orator, a great speaker, and it was just, it's not mesmerizing, but it's enjoyable to hear from him and hear his perspective. It's refreshing, especially in this particular environment that we're in right now at VMware Explore, where the CEO that's looking at acquiring VMware, he's known for not being the most friendly to his employees, to put that in a nice way, because he's there to make money. He is the CEO after all.
A very successful one.
And a very successful one. And then to hear from Sanjay about how the employee experience is core to making sure that the customers are happy. If the employees are not happy, then the customers won't be happy. So you got to make sure to clean your house before you can clean someone else's.
It was an interesting dichotomy to see the things that we've been seeing in the news and the press of the last year, and then hear another CEO speak just the exact opposite of that. Every CEO runs their business completely differently. That's fine, but just to see that dichotomy between two upper echelon CEOs was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll wrap it up here.
I've got one more question though.
Oh, you got one more
question? Yeah, if you've been on the Solutions Exchange, or now, I always call things by the old term, forgive me, the Expo floor, which is the coolest thing that you've seen?
Oh, the coolest thing that I've seen on the Expo, I mean, they have that drink robot machine that's out there, and I don't even know if it works, but the coolest vendor that I've seen has been Vast. Have you seen
I did not actually stop over there. I will now.
So it is a decoupled storage solution that separates the compute and the storage. So it's hilarious because when I would talk to them, they were talking about how they break. They were saying something that was really funny, which was, oh yeah, we can scale up the compute and scale up the storage. I was like, well, don't we normally do that? He was like, yeah, but that's just the storage. Like, there's compute and storage in every box that we sell for compute, and every box that you purchase. But what we're going to do is we're going to separate the compute and the storage for that. And it was really intriguing what they were doing, because they are using SmartNICs for a lot of their communication, which leads into AI, ML workloads and things like that. And so, yeah, that's a really interesting one that I haven't seen, and it was good to see them. What about you?
One of the coolest things that I've seen is actually one of the small little kiosks inside the VMware booth. I did not know that VMware offers ransomware as a service, or ransomware protection as a service, excuse me. And I was like, well, what do you mean ransomware protection as a service? And he walked me through these different tiers. You can have your vCenter replicate out to a VMware data center. It's hosted up into S3. All the snapshots from your VMs go up into it. There's heuristics and AI and analytics and machine learning that look at it, but it's a very small, hydrated environment, or it's a blank environment, and you can purchase it when you need it, and it runs up to, I think, 1,000 snapshots. And I went, whoa. Snapshots should never be kept for more than a week, and that's stretching it, and they should be deleted after 72 hours. What do you mean 1,000 snapshots? And he goes, well, with the new architecture in the new vSphere 8, the snapshots have gotten better, and what we've utilized is we've been able to now look at that many different data points and see when the ransomware actually happened, so you can test, spin it up into a air-gapped network, You can have your developers or your application teams, your sysadmins log into the VM, check to see if it's clean. Oops, it's not clean. Nuke it and go back one. And it's as a service, so you're not paying a massive amount of storage to keep everything up there fully hydrated, and it's as a service, so you consume as you need it. You have a few ESX hosts up there, you have VMware on the service turned on and ready to go, and if you need it, it's there, but you just kind of forget about it and not worry about it. And I'm like, this sounds familiar, and he's like, that's why we bought Datrium. And I was like, I forgot about that. I legitimately forgot that Datrium got acquired by VMware because we've been so busy doing 1,000 other things.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa,
and
cool.
Staying alive at the same time.
Yep.
Like trying to make sure that we don't die from all of the horrible outsideness.
Yep.
Anyway, that's about it from us.
Yeah.
We'll probably do another one of these tomorrow and just wrap it up in terms of what it's like, finishing up, going home, and all that good stuff. Or in your case, not going home.
Not going home till Saturday. Yeah, I have some sessions tomorrow morning, and then a little bit of networking to do throughout the rest of the week. So
yeah, fantastic.
Yep.
So for now, signing off.
See you guys later.